Waking up to 3. Sometimes 4 times every single night to rush to the bathroom, and you can barely make it in time because your bladder feels like it's about to burst. And by the time you get back to bed, you're wide awake staring at the ceiling, knowing that in just another hour or two you'll be doing this all over again. And maybe you've started thinking this is just part of getting older, but I need to tell you right now that waking up multiple times every night to urinate is not normal, and it's not something you just have to accept because your body is trying to tell you something important, and what I'm about to share with you today could completely transform your nights and finally give you back the deep, restful sleep you desperately need. Maybe you've even stopped drinking water after 6 o'clock thinking that's the solution, or perhaps you're exhausted during the day because you haven't had a full night's sleep in months or even years, and you're afraid to go anywhere overnight because you need to know exactly where the bathroom is at all times. And I understand this because I've seen thousands of seniors struggling with this exact same problem and feeling embarrassed to even talk about it, but you're not alone in this, and there's a reason this keeps happening night after night after night. My name is Dr. Rebecca Parker, and I've worked as a physician for over 20 years, and today I focus specifically on senior health, and I can tell you that this issue of nighttime urination, which doctors call nocturia, is one of the most common complaints I hear from my patients, and it's robbing them of their quality of life, their energy, their independence, and even their dignity, because when you can't sleep through the night, everything else suffers and your risk of falls increases dramatically. When you're stumbling to the bathroom in the dark and your cognitive function declines because your brain never gets the deep restorative sleep it needs to repair itself and process memories. Here's what's really happening inside your body and why this problem gets worse as we age, and understanding this is absolutely critical because once you know the real cause, you'll understand why the solution I'm about to give you works so powerfully. As we get older, our kidneys change the way they function, and during the day your kidneys are supposed to concentrate your urine, which means they pull water back into your bloodstream and produce less urine. But at night this process should intensify even more so you can sleep undisturbed for 7 or 8 hours without needing to empty your bladder. But here's the problem that develops in many seniors, and this is something most people don't realize. Your body produces a hormone called antidiuretic hormone, or ADH, and this hormone is absolutely essential because it tells your kidneys to hold on to water and produce less urine, especially at night. But as we age, our bodies produce less and less of this hormone, and without adequate ADH, your kidneys just keep producing urine all night long at the same rate they do during the day, which means your bladder fills up quickly and wakes you up over and over again. And this creates a vicious cycle because the more your sleep gets disrupted, the more stressed your body becomes, and stress actually makes this hormone problem even worse. But there's more happening here, and this is where it gets really important for your overall health, because this isn't just about inconvenience or lost sleep. When you're getting up multiple times every night, you're putting yourself at serious risk for falls and injuries. And according to recent studies, seniors who get up 2 or more times per night have a significantly higher risk of hip fractures and broken bones because you're navigating in the dark, often feeling groggy and disoriented, and your reaction time is slower and your balance is compromised, and one fall can change your entire life, taking away your independence and leading to a cascade of health problems that could even be life-threatening. Plus, and this is something that really concerns me as a physician, your heart is working harder than it should be when you keep waking up throughout the night, because every time you wake up your blood pressure spikes and your heart rate increases, and over months and years this puts tremendous strain on your cardiovascular system and increases your risk of heart disease and stroke. And for those of you who already have heart conditions, this nighttime pattern could be shortening your life, and you might not even realize the connection between your bathroom trips and your heart health. If this is resonating with you and you're recognizing yourself in what I'm describing, hit that like button right now because it helps other seniors across America find this vital information. And I want as many people as possible to understand that there is a solution to this problem, and you don't have to spend another night being exhausted and frustrated and feeling like your own body has betrayed you. Now let me tell you about something that changed everything for one of my patients, and I remember her so clearly because she was 72 years old, and she came into my office looking absolutely exhausted with dark circles under her eyes, and she told me she Hadn't slept through a single night in over 3 years, and she was getting up 4 or 5 times every night, and she'd tried everything, or at least she thought she had, and she'd stopped drinking fluids after dinner, and she'd even started wearing protective undergarments because sometimes she couldn't make it to the bathroom in time, and she was at the end of her rope feeling hopeless and defeated. And I told her exactly what I'm about to tell you today, and within just 1 week, she called my office almost in tears. But this time they were tears of joy because she'd slept through the entire night for the first time in years, and she couldn't believe something so simple could make such a dramatic difference. And now, several months later, she's consistently sleeping 6 to 7 hours straight, and she has her energy back and her confidence back. And she told me she feels like she got her life back. So what did I tell her, and what am I about to share with you? Here's the first solution, and this is something you can start doing tonight, and it's incredibly simple but powerfully effective. Instead of drinking plain water before bed, you need to drink something that actually helps your body retain fluids in a healthy way and supports that antidiuretic hormone function and gives your bladder the nutrients it needs to stay calm and relaxed throughout the night. The answer is tart cherry juice, and I know that might sound almost too simple, but let me explain the science behind why this works so remarkably well. Tart cherries, which are different from the sweet cherries you might eat as a snack, contain natural compounds called anthocyanins, and these are powerful antioxidants that reduce inflammation throughout your entire body, including in your bladder and urinary tract. And when your bladder is inflamed, it becomes oversensitive and signals your brain that it's full even when it's not, which is why you feel that urgent need to go even though you might only release a small amount of urine. But tart cherry juice does something even more important, and this is the key to why it works so well for nighttime urination. It naturally supports your body's production of melatonin, which most people know as the sleep hormone. But what most people don't realize is that melatonin also plays a crucial role in bladder function and helps calm overactive bladder muscles. And when you drink tart cherry juice before bed, you're giving your body a natural boost of melatonin, which helps you sleep deeper and signals your bladder to relax and hold more fluid comfortably throughout the night. Plus, tart cherries contain potassium, which helps regulate fluid balance in your body, and magnesium, which relaxes smooth muscle tissue, including the muscles in your bladder wall. And when these muscles are relaxed, your bladder can expand more comfortably and hold more urine without triggering that urgent sensation that wakes you up. And I've seen this work for hundreds of my patients, and the results are often nothing short of amazing. Now let me give you the exact protocol that I recommend to my patients, and this is what that 72-year-old woman followed and what you can start doing tonight. About 1 hour before bed, you're going to drink 4 to 6 ounces of pure tart cherry juice, and it's important that it's tart cherry juice, not sweet cherry juice, because the tart variety has much higher concentrations of those beneficial compounds we talked about. And you can find this at any grocery store across America, from Walmart to your local health food store, and brands like Lakewood or Dynamic Health or R.W. Knudsen make pure tart cherry juice without added sugars. Here's exactly how to prepare it and use it for maximum benefit. Take 4 to 6 ounces, which is about half a cup of pure tart cherry juice, and if you find it too tart on its own, you can dilute it with about 2 ounces of water, but don't add more water than that, because remember, we're trying to reduce the total volume of fluid you're consuming before bed. Drink this slowly over about 5 to 10 minutes rather than gulping it down, because when you drink slowly, your body absorbs the nutrients more effectively and your bladder doesn't get that sudden rush of fluid that can trigger urgency. The timing is crucial, so you want to drink this about 60 minutes before you plan to go to sleep, which gives the beneficial compounds time to start working in your system and gives you enough time to empty your bladder once before bed. After you finish the cherry juice, wait about 45 minutes and then go to the bathroom one final time before getting into bed, even if you don't feel a strong urge. And this helps ensure you're starting the night with an empty bladder and the cherry juice working in your system. Now I want you to be consistent with this for at least 5 to 7 days before you judge the results, because your body needs a little time to respond, and some people notice improvement the very first night, like my patient did, but for others it takes a few days for the anti-inflammatory effects to build up and really start making a difference. And don't get discouraged if you don't see dramatic results immediately, because this is retraining your bladder and supporting your body's natural hormone production, and that sometimes takes a little time. But that's just the first solution, and while tart cherry juice alone can make a tremendous difference, there's something even more powerful you can add to this protocol. And when you combine these approaches, you're giving your body multiple layers of support and addressing this problem from several different angles, and that's when you really start to see those dramatic improvements that change your quality of life completely. The second solution involves a specific type of herbal tea that you're going to drink about 30 minutes after your cherry juice, and this might seem counterintuitive because you're thinking, wait, you want me to drink more liquid before bed, but hear me out, because this particular tea actually helps your body process fluids more efficiently and strengthens your bladder muscles and reduces that sense of urgency that wakes you up at night. The tea I'm talking about is pumpkin seed tea, and now I know this isn't something most Americans are familiar with, but it's been used in traditional medicine for centuries specifically for bladder and urinary problems, and modern research has confirmed why it works so well. Pumpkin seeds contain compounds called phytosterols, and these have been shown in multiple studies to support healthy bladder function and reduce overactive bladder symptoms, and they also contain zinc, which is absolutely essential for prostate health in men and many. Men over 65 have enlarged prostates, which contribute significantly to nighttime urination, and they contain magnesium and omega fatty acids, which relax the smooth muscle tissue in your urinary tract. What makes pumpkin seed tea so effective for nighttime urination is that it actually strengthens the sphincter muscles that control your bladder, and when these muscles are strong, they can hold urine more effectively throughout the night without leaking or creating that urgent sensation. And the tea also has a mild diuretic effect during the evening, which might sound contradictory, but here's why this actually helps. When you drink the tea a few hours before bed, it helps your body process and eliminate excess fluid while you're still awake and moving around, and by the time you actually go to sleep, your kidneys have already done most of their filtering work and they slow down naturally during the night. You can make pumpkin seed tea very easily at home, and here's the exact preparation I recommend to my patients. Take 2 tablespoons of raw unsalted pumpkin seeds, which you can find at any health food store or even at regular grocery stores in the baking or health food section, and crush them slightly with the back of a spoon or in a mortar and pestle, because this releases more of the beneficial oils and compounds. Put the crushed seeds in a cup and pour 8 ounces of hot water over them, not boiling, but very hot around 190 degrees, and let this steep for 10 to 15 minutes, and then strain out the seeds and drink the tea warm. The taste is actually quite pleasant and mild with a slightly nutty flavor, and if you want to enhance it, you can add a small amount of cinnamon or a tiny bit of honey, but keep any additions minimal because we don't want to add a lot of extra sugar before bed. Drink this tea about 2 to 3 hours before bedtime, which gives your body time to process it and benefit from the bladder strengthening compounds, while still allowing time for your system to settle down before sleep. Now I want to tell you about one of my patients who combined both the tart cherry juice and the pumpkin seed tea, and this was a 75-year-old man who had been getting up 5 or 6 times every single night, and he was exhausted and his wife was exhausted, because he was constantly disturbing her sleep too, and he had an enlarged prostate, and he'd been told he might need surgery, but he wanted to try natural approaches first, and he was skeptical when I told him about these remedies because they seemed too simple to work for such a frustrating problem. But he decided to commit to trying them consistently for 2 full weeks, and he followed the protocol exactly as I described, drinking the tart cherry juice 1 hour before bed and the pumpkin seed tea 2 to 3 hours before bed, and making sure to use the bathroom right before getting into bed. After just 4 days, he was down to getting up only twice per night instead of 5 or 6 times, and after 10 days, he was sleeping through the entire night or getting up only once, which for him was absolutely life-changing, and now 3 months later he's consistently sleeping 6 to 7 hours straight, and he has so much more energy, and his mood has improved, and his relationship with his wife has improved because they're both finally getting the rest they need. Write in the comments right now, have you tried tart cherry juice or pumpkin seed tea for bladder issues? And if not, which one are you going to try first tonight? Because I'd love to hear about your experiences, and your stories can help encourage others who are struggling with the same problem. But we're not done yet, because I have one more solution for you, and this third approach is the most powerful of all. And when you combine all 3 of these strategies together, you're creating a comprehensive protocol that addresses every aspect of nighttime urination. and gives you the absolute best chance of sleeping through the night and waking up refreshed and energized. The third solution involves adding magnesium glycinate to your evening routine, and this specific form of magnesium is crucial because not all magnesium supplements are created equal, and some forms can actually worsen nighttime urination by having a laxative effect, but magnesium glycinate is the most easily absorbed form, and it's specifically beneficial for muscle relaxation and sleep quality, and it doesn't cause digestive upset or increased urination. Here's why magnesium is so important for this problem, and this is something that most doctors don't talk about enough with their senior patients. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body, including the regulation of your nervous system, and the relaxation of smooth muscle tissue, and your bladder is made up of smooth muscle, and when you don't have adequate magnesium, these muscles become tense and overreactive and trigger that urgent sensation even when your bladder isn't actually full, and studies have shown that up to 75% of Americans are deficient in magnesium, and this deficiency becomes even more common as we age because our ability to absorb magnesium from food decreases, and many medications that seniors take deplete magnesium even further. When you take magnesium glycinate before bed, it has multiple powerful effects that work together to help you sleep through the night. First, it relaxes your bladder muscles so they can expand more comfortably and hold more urine without triggering spasms or urgency. And second, it calms your nervous system, which reduces the hypersensitivity that makes you wake up at the slightest sensation of bladder fullness. And third, it improves your sleep quality overall, so you sleep more deeply and your brain isn't as easily triggered awake by minor signals from your bladder. And fourth, it helps regulate your stress hormones, which, as I mentioned earlier, can interfere with that antidiuretic hormone that's so important for nighttime fluid regulation. The dosage I typically recommend for my senior patients is between 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate taken about 30 to 45 minutes before bed, and you can find this at any pharmacy like Walgreens or CVS, or you can order it online, and brands like Doctor's Best or Thorne or Pure Encapsulations make high-quality magnesium glycinate supplements. Start with 300 milligrams for the first week, and if you're still having some nighttime waking, you can increase to 400 milligrams, but don't exceed that amount without talking to your doctor, especially if you have kidney problems, because too much magnesium can be harmful if your kidneys aren't functioning properly. Now let me give you the complete protocol putting all three solutions together, and this is exactly what I recommend to my patients who are serious about solving this problem once and for all. About 3 hours before bed, prepare and drink your pumpkin seed tea, as I described earlier, and this gets the bladder-strengthening compounds working in your system and helps process any excess fluid. About 1 hour before bed, drink your 4 to 6 ounces of tart cherry juice slowly, and this provides the anti-inflammatory benefits and melatonin support. And then about 30 to 45 minutes before bed, take your magnesium glycinate supplement with just a small sip of water, and finally about 15 minutes before actually getting into bed, go to the bathroom one last time, even if you don't feel a strong urge. This complete protocol addresses nighttime urination from every possible angle, and I've had patients tell me this has been more effective than the prescription medications they were taking, and without any of the side effects. And the beautiful thing is these are all natural approaches that support your body's own healing mechanisms rather than forcing change through pharmaceutical intervention. And while medications certainly have their place and sometimes are necessary, many people find they can reduce or even eliminate their dependence on bladder medications when they follow this natural protocol consistently. If you want access to even more detailed protocols and exclusive recipes and personalized advice for your specific situation, become a channel member, because there I share deeper information about advanced strategies for bladder health and urinary issues and sleep optimization, and I provide meal plans and supplement protocols and answer questions directly from members who want that extra level of support. Now I need to address something really important, because some of you might be thinking, well, maybe my nighttime urination is caused by something more serious, and you're right to consider that, because while most cases of nocturia in seniors are related to the hormone and muscle issues we've discussed, there are some medical conditions that can cause or worsen this problem, and you need to be aware of them. Diabetes can cause excessive urination both day and night because high blood sugar levels pull water from your tissues and your kidneys have to work overtime to filter out the excess glucose, and if you're waking up extremely thirsty and urinating large volumes. Especially if you've also noticed unexplained weight loss, you need to see your doctor and get your blood sugar checked. Congestive heart failure can also cause nighttime urination because when you lie down, fluid that has accumulated in your legs and feet during the day gets redistributed throughout your body, and your kidneys process this extra fluid and produce more urine. If you're also experiencing swelling in your legs or shortness of breath or unusual fatigue, you need to get evaluated by a cardiologist right away. Urinary tract infections are another common cause, especially in senior women, and if your nighttime urination is accompanied by burning or pain when you urinate, or if your urine is cloudy or has a strong odor, you might have an infection that needs antibiotic treatment. For men, enlarged prostate, which doctors call benign prostatic hyperplasia or BPH, is one of the most common causes of nighttime urination. And while the natural approaches I've described can help significantly, especially the pumpkin seed tea, some men need additional medical treatment. And if you're also having difficulty starting urination or a weak stream or the sensation that you can't completely empty your bladder, you should see a urologist for evaluation. Sleep apnea is another surprising cause of nighttime urination that most people don't realize, and when you have sleep apnea, your oxygen levels drop during the night, and this triggers hormonal changes that increase urine production. And if you snore loudly, or your partner has noticed you stop breathing during sleep, or you wake up gasping for air, you need to get evaluated for sleep apnea. So while the natural protocol I've given you today is incredibly effective and safe for most people, I always want you to use common sense. And if you have any of the warning signs I just mentioned, or if you've tried this protocol consistently for 2 to 3 weeks and you're not seeing any improvement at all, then you need to see your doctor for a comprehensive evaluation, because there might be an underlying condition that needs medical treatment, and I would never want you to delay necessary medical care. If this video has opened your eyes to understanding what's really happening with your nighttime urination and given you hope that there's a solution, hit that like button, because I put tremendous effort into researching and creating content that actually makes a difference in seniors' lives. And when you like and share these videos, it helps this information reach more people who desperately need it. Let me tell you one more story before we wrap up, because this one really shows the life-changing impact that solving nighttime urination can have. And this was a 68-year-old woman who came to see me, and she was in tears during our appointment because she told me she'd stopped traveling to visit her grandchildren who lived across the country because she was too embarrassed about her bladder issues, and she was afraid of having accidents on the plane or not being able to find bathrooms quickly enough in unfamiliar places, and she felt like she was missing out on precious time with her family and watching her grandchildren grow up. I put her on this exact protocol we've discussed today, the tart cherry juice and pumpkin seed tea and magnesium glycinate, and I also worked with her on some pelvic floor exercises, which I'll talk about in another video, and within 6 weeks she had improved so dramatically that she booked a flight to visit her daughter and grandchildren, and she told me later with the biggest smile on her face that she slept through most of the flight and she was able to enjoy the entire week-long visit without constantly worrying about where the nearest bathroom was, and she felt like she'd gotten a piece of her life back that she thought was gone forever. And that's what I want for you too, because you deserve to sleep peacefully through the night and wake up refreshed and energized, and you deserve to live your life without being controlled by your bladder and without that constant anxiety about whether you'll make it to the bathroom in time. And this is absolutely achievable for most people when you give your body the right support and the right nutrients and address the root causes rather than just accepting this as an inevitable part of aging.